Okay, so for Jamie to arrive, admit. Okay, Agent Smith is online. Only I can't hear you. I could hear something now.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if that works, I can do it like this. I can hear you loud and clear. It was
Right.
before. It was the whole what is it? The headphones medley. Yeah, and it just seemed to work. But this works if you can hear. There's
Yeah.
no interference. No?
That's good. Okay, move that around. Yeah. Okay. So, fire away, Jamie.
Oh, wow. Throw the ball to my court. That's fine. Yeah, so let's go to where we left off in my mind. And that was you were on the whole David Icke subject, and it was Archons.
In my videos.
Yes. No, even in like, I think it was like a private chat that we may have had. And you were like, oh, have you ever heard of this concept before, the whole Archon thing? And I'd briefly heard someone maybe mention it or something. I'd heard the like concept, but it is never something that I knew where the source of it came from,
Right.
where the actual stuff
Okay.
was written.
Comes from the Gnostics.
Yes, the Pistis Sophia. So
Yeah.
it's like the one of the scrolls that was discovered in the mid-40s near Nag Hammadi.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just wonder. You've obviously read. What have you read? The Pistis Sophia in its entirety, or
No, just listen to lots of videos in relation to the origin of the universe according to the Archons and to the Gnostics.
yeah,
And
in that kind of like framed existence, as it were.
yeah.
So yeah, I got I'm on this like numerology and like trying to kind of tie that to the English language, the like in a linear sense, right? So I got onto the whole with him about I being the ninth letter of
Mhm.
the English language.
Gematria.
Yeah. So I being nine, and then it kind of the numerology behind meaning.
Right.
Yeah, is that something that you've
Yeah.
it would like some of the stuff that I've been reading in the book, especially which here is kind of like would lend itself to this numerology. Like even when sometimes it's kind of like slightly off, but like it kind of still rings true with the whole. We're dealing about 30s and twos and ones and you see what I mean.
Okay.
Like
So
prime numbers in as it were. You see what I mean, or kind of like weird. Right. So chapter 2, for example, we are in chapter 2, and it is Jehovah's Witnesses in the 30s, which is my kind of so this guy that I speak to this about the kind of numerology of meanings is like a ex Jehovah's Witness himself,
yeah.
and it was kind of like he still kind of interacts with I do as well, but it's like more often than not I'll see someone that's had an interaction with these guys, with the witnesses. You see, like the girl that I speak to in the Netherlands speaks of being able to manifest them almost instantaneously or the next day,
Right.
like she kind of made them appear, kind of thing.
Made who appear?
The witnesses.
The witnesses. Okay, yeah, the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, we've had a bit of a preamble. I think we should start again, going in with the precise subject matter that we're going to be broaching, and I'll cut the first part off of the video.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah, you'll have to, yeah, because I'm a
Because
bit
people
sporadic. Yeah,
they've got very very peculiar minds, and like I say in my videos, uh, the vast majority of people won't last longer than 3 minutes.
no, no, and I hate to kind of be so cryptic sometimes, but to me, when a certain idea resonates, I'm like, then I'm all down there. You see what I mean? Like what
Yeah.
you said about the Archons, I was just like, let's go there, and I did the whole Pistis Sophia thing. I haven't let's be clear, I haven't finished the Pistis Sophia, and I don't fully understand it, but I'm at the point where it's a paradox where the Jesus character comes into the existence and he's speaking from a different level of authority. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
it has to be clear here that I am talking on in a literal sense. This is two realities that are bleeding into each other.
Hmm.
Okay. And I see that in here, and it's a bit weird. You see what I mean? Like the so when people talk about the whole witness idea, I did that as well. So it was guidance for William that did it, and I prayed for that. It was the following day, they turned up at my door.
Right.
Mm.
So what
What is it
actually?
about these people that are quite switched on in terms of how do they manifest? What's going on there? Do you think?
Oh wow. Mhm.
Because they don't, I would be of the belief that they're not in the truth, because they believe that he's going to kind of surf down on and come and save them, literally, and they don't see what is actually right in front of them, and that the kingdom is literally themselves, and that, and you see, I've said to these, the people that are still in the halls, the kingdom halls, I'm like, like when I get to know something, like, what the whole thing is, right? And they're like, wow, that's not that, that's not their doctrine, that's not
No,
their truth.
they're just filled with little lines of dogma, and they don't think any further about anything other than what a few lines in the Bible are supposed to be saying.
Mhm.
So,
So
okay, right.
we're at
Gonna
the point where you manifested the Jehovah's Witnesses, or I think you did anyway, at chapter 2.
right.
I've done a whole other bits and bobs from the book as well, but chapter 11, where it kind of gets interesting in terms of the out of body stuff.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
so let's start again then.
yeah.
And
Sorry, you might have to do this a few. Yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Maybe we
well,
can just edit this. Maybe I can have an editor do it properly. I don't know.
it's relatively simple. I just cut off the first 8 minutes and 45 seconds. So, um, okay, I'll lead the way then. So we start again now. So I'm going to put my hand up, and this will be indicative to me
All
where
right.
the
Can I
video
take a
starts.
swig of beer first? Can I do
Yeah,
that
yeah,
first?
yeah.
Left. Really nice. Just a really fucking nice beer. A bit bubbly, but I could deal with that.
Right.
Mm. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, cool. Right then. So you have been reading my book, and you've been listening to my videos, and you've been speaking to other people, and you've been thinking about things, and you've got something on your mind, and it pertains to gematria, which is this whole thing where letters are allocated a number, and this is what lots of people speculate that the Bible is written in, this numerology code, and there's hidden meanings in it, and all that sort of stuff. Well, I've not done a great deal of investigation in that. It doesn't interest me to any real degree, other than I know it's a thing, and some people have a lot of time for it. The other thing that you looking into was the whole thing in relation to the Archons, and the Archons are these negative energies which were written about by the Gnostics. And some of these scriptures have been found in the Nag Hammadi texts. And also, the Gnostics speak about Sophia and the creation of the earth and the creation of the Demiurge, which is Yahweh. And so,
Yaldabaoth, but yeah, Yahweh, Yaldabaoth,
yeah.
we can
So,
agree that it's the same
how are you
entity, yeah.
joining these things up then?
Wow. Do you want it? So Yaldabaoth, it's you.
Uh huh.
I reckon that you operate at the frequency that Yaldabaoth does,
Right.
and it's not. I don't mean that as a derogatory thing. Like, it seems to be you. Wow. Maybe you can elaborate there for me and go somewhere where
Well,
why you think that I may be wrong. I'm sorry, but I
oh
will
no, 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 no.
formulate something.
Let's
Yeah.
investigate it. So, what frequency does Yaldabaoth operate from? That's a start, isn't it? To set the ground. If we are looking at I am operating in the frequency of Yaldabaoth, then we need to know what that frequency is. And
Yes.
so,
Yes. So let's
what is
define it.
that frequency in your estimation?
Something either very high or very low. Something either very fast or very slow. I don't really know like how to explain it, but maybe I'm not trying to say that maybe I'm better than you or anything like that, but I would seem that my optimism in terms of the human race would be quite the mirror image of what you have been expressing in recent videos, and to some degree, what I've seen in the book as well.
So, do you mean the opposite?
Yes, almost like the yin to the yang of the what
So,
you are
so when we
trying.
look in a mirror, then we see ourselves in the obverse. Then, and so
Almost invariably, yes, because it would seem that the optimism that I have for it would not share like I see what you're trying to do in some of these recent videos, but it really seems barbaric, and it seems like I was speaking to someone earlier today, and he's of a kind of Eastern faith. And I said, look, Leviticus, right? I will fucking delete Leviticus right now. Not even a fucking problem, dude. We can just get rid of it. And we can then move on to why numbers actually fucking matter. But you see what I mean? Like it being the third. You see what I mean?
yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush here in a literal fucking sense. You know, the bush being, one of the pivotal points. It just struck me that that you've also mentioned. I was watching the recent videos and then reading the Pistis Sophia that you were. David Icke goes on about this fucking. It's like the Archons, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, how visible are you to the Archons, or are you actually them?
Well, okay, let's sort of like paint a picture then for the viewer so they can follow what you're suggesting here. Now, Yaldabaoth in the Gnostic writings is the Demiurge, which later became to be known as Yahweh. And
Yeah,
Yahweh,
pretty much. Yeah, yeah. So Sophia creates him in a void because she is ashamed of the impurity of how she creates him. So Sophia actually puts Yahweh into a kind of box, if you will, and he's ignorant to the fact that there is something that set him off, as it were. And
he's
he is
ignorant of the
like
fact that
the
there's something
ultimate
else.
supreme ruler of his own domain.
Yeah, okay, so he's ignorant to the fact that he was created by something else, which is outside
Yes,
of his self-containment. So
yes,
he proclaims that he is the Omega and the Alpha. Um,
exactly. So in a sense, almost ironically, but mistakenly and unbeknownst to himself, claims that he is the Alpha and Omega.
mhm.
And unfortunately, that is just not the ultimate truth.
Well, it's not the ultimate truth as far as the Gnostic writings are concerned, with the
Mm.
mythology of the origin of the cosmos according to their mythology. Now, so we have to check ourselves that we don't get carried away thinking any of that is a reality. It's all metaphor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's not
And
assume
if
that the
we don't want to confuse the viewers about this stuff that they probably don't have any knowledge about, we can
mm,
simplify things by saying,
yeah,
well, look, in later in the Bible, we've got the introduction of Satan, and Satan becomes the adversary of God, and God deems himself to be good. So you see, what we've already done is we've made a transition from the Yaldabaoth, from the Gnostics writing, who was the Demiurge and was an evil.
into the God of the First Testament. Yeah.
Yes, he was born and
Yes.
created
Yeah. Yeah.
evil.
So by and large, for the benefit of the viewer, Aaron is explaining that Yaldabaoth is essentially what early heretics and Cathars. This is where the word cathedral comes from. Cathars, gnosis bringers that the God of the First Testament is actually a product of an impure creation given about by not only the opposite of itself, but the exact female of it. So this is why people call it the father. It's a paternal thing, is because the opposite of that is the Sophia. So the ultimate God above the God of the First Testament would, in fact, be a female and would be of way higher authority than this barbaric creature that we see
But
ruling
then
the
we get
earth.
the paradox that if she was also pure, how come she created evil?
Well, this is a very very important question because the intention is what springs it into existence. It seems to be the impure intention, the impure mind, which kind of spirals facets of the universe that are negative into existence. You
Hmm.
see,
Yeah.
and it
So
struck me that maybe if you are speaking of these archonic creatures and kind of maybe subconsciously believing in them, are you not bringing them into existence by doing that?
oh, I mean, I don't believe in anything, and so it's not like I am uh, speaking about these mythological entities as something real, like David Icke does. David
Right.
Icke,
Okay. Right.
he
So that's the line in the sand, as it were.
yeah, David Icke seems pretty certain that
Mm.
the world is governed by archons. And as to why he chose archons instead of the devil, well, I don't know. Maybe one
It's
day
the
we'll
same
get.
concept,
It's the
isn't
same
it? I mean,
concept, isn't
yeah.
it? So look,
Let's not.
uh,
Yeah.
Ike's dealing with these metaphors of lizards and things like that. Well, we have a reptilian brain, and it's the stem brain, and it's the lizard brain.
I was
And
about
this
to
is the
say,
brain
yeah,
that all mammals
mammals. Yeah,
have.
yeah, yeah.
And then in some of us, more advanced, we grow mammalian brains over the top, and then
Mm.
we grow the cerebral cortex. And so Ikes choose to stay more mythological because it sounds more sinister and more intellectual, I think, because
It's palatable, isn't it?
yeah, it's kind of like all the archons, they're these
Yeah,
mysterious,
yeah.
dark,
But you
shadowy
can, but
entities.
I mean, having knowledge of the pistis itself, you would know that these kind of seven beings are quite they're not, it's not as if these things don't exist. You see what I mean?
Well, I mean, the
In a
concept.
certain sense. You see what I mean?
Yeah, well, therefore, we have to clarify again. We can't say it's not like these things don't exist, because when you say
Yeah.
things, you're implying that it's material. Well, these things are never said to be material. They're ethereal, aren't they?
Yes.
They're
Yes.
these like
Yeah.
these
No,
shadow entities that
I
work
would.
with physical matter, but they're not physical matter.
Well, this is where I was kind of going with the whole physical matter thing, is that I would also say that they are integral to physical matter by nature of what they are.
Okay,
So
so in relation to that, then you I've suggested that I am operating in the energy of Yaldabaoth. So
yeah,
let's, if we can, then leave the Archons and Yaldabaoth to the side, and we'll continue with something much more simple. Let's say negative energy. I'm operating in the realm of negative energy.
wow. I wouldn't be able to label it as negative or positive
Oh,
because
okay.
it would be something that is um, personal to either yourself or people around you, or maybe even me at a distance. But like, I wouldn't be able to label it as good or bad. The act of labeling it as good or bad is kind of like the manifestation of what is making it feel like to me. You see what I mean? I wouldn't like I would sense that I've meditated at similar times to yourself and have had these kind of thoughts about reality and the universe itself, and have contemplated these things on a very vast level. And it seems that there is some kind of narrative in the recent videos more than anything that would suggest that you've maybe lost faith in humanity.
Yeah.
Mm. And it's not, I can, wow, we've got all of eternity to fix it. That's not a problem. You see what I mean?
Well,
Like
okay.
we have actually got all of eternity. This is the universe speaking to the universe,
Well,
essentially.
yeah.
So
But I'm not sure there's anything that needs fixing, because from the get go, there were these polar opposites
mm,
of energies
yeah,
and thought patterns and manifestations. And so it's the yin and yang of the cosmos. They've always worked together. And this is why, when the Bible created a God, it absolutely at the same time had to create the nemesis,
yeah.
the devil.
By creation, if you're going to put one thing, it needs its polar opposite, doesn't it? Or it needs something at least to vibrate off of.
Well, it's
Otherwise, there
absolutely
is
got
no
to have
tension. There is no the
it's got to have its
disagreement I
polar
would see
opposites,
is, but
because
it's not.
otherwise nothing can be in existence. You can't have,
Yeah,
like, let's say, one fraction of the devil and 99% are good. It just doesn't work like that. And so
yeah.
when
It's
you
true.
have the yin and yang, you have an equal portion in the small dots. You have that dot of white in the black and that dot of black in the white, and so therefore it's an equal amount of the energy which is opposite, it's opposing. Now, when we look at what it is uh, to think about these things, we relate the whole of the biblical corpus to the human being, because basically it's a blueprint of human psychology, as best as they could write it down way back when.
It's the
And when
best. Like, I would say that the English language is the best way, and I've studied a few of them in terms of bibliography, and the English language is by far the most intriguing one, and it is able to do the most linguistic definitions, and they're very kind of quick to the point. Yes.
Well, that aside, I mean, the Bible was written in uh, Hebrew and Greek.
Hebrew and then Coptic, yeah,
Yeah, and so therefore
and then
we can
Latin.
only translate. So we
Yes,
we
of
can't
course. Yeah,
expand on our
yeah,
wonderful
yeah, yeah,
variances. We can only try to copy in the
yeah.
English language. So what I want to do is I don't want to get too tangential here.
No,
Uh,
okay, yeah, we can keep it simple for the sake of
well, I don't know whether it's going to be simple, but I want to follow a trajectory of what we're talking about here.
We might get a bit complicated then, yeah, but I mean, I'm sure the avid person that knows about 1, 2, 3s and ABCs will be able to follow along. Yeah,
Yeah. So okay, then
yeah.
let's
We're
come
gonna.
back.
It can go deep though. Yeah,
Well, let us then, instead of like interjecting
yeah,
with
yeah. No,
we never get anywhere, do we? So, I mean, am I going to talk for 10 minutes or are you going to talk for 10 minutes? I think that's the best thing.
who's
Because
gonna
if you've
explain
got a
it
few
to
words
them that
each, it
the
doesn't
whole
mean anything.
sequence is
It
kind
doesn't
of
go
a bit?
nowhere, does it? You know, I think that the whole thing about a debate or discussion, one person lays out the
Yes,
foundation of what they want to have discussed, and then the other person then will remember it and then come back on it. So I'm picking up from what you've said. You said that I am exhibiting the energy of Yaldabaoth. Now,
yes.
I'm assuming that you was meaning somewhat negative because the
No,
Yaldabaoth was deemed to be a negative god. He wasn't a big god
not in
by
the
any
first
account.
sense. It wasn't. No.
And so he's the demiurge, he's the small
Yes,
god, and he's got an overinflated opinion of his own value because he doesn't know that somebody else has created him and contained him.
yes,
And so he's lord and master of his tiny little universe, which
yes.
apparently is the world.
That's
Okay, so
exactly.
now then,
Well,
when you
that would be the world projected around um, a consciousness that I would um, put in that category. That sounds really bad. That sounds like I'm trying to have a little stab or a go. It's nothing like that. I honestly, well, I've actually read in the book. Actually, there's a few times where you've referenced I am.
I am that I am.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, no. We can go there. Yeah. So the whole, the whole Moses thing. Yes. So the response to Moses is that God is, I am who I am, right? Or I am that I am, or I am what I am, but I am would be the preface to it.
Yeah.
And yes, by all means, the center of the consciousness is by definition the I am. By definition, that you are kind of source experiencing itself, but there is there seems to be some kind of maybe ignorance or detachment from um the there is a there is this, you didn't create yourself. Well, question, do you think that you created yourself in here?
In here.
Well, to be doing this with me now, to experience humanity and be so disappointed with it.
Well, I mean, as to who created what and what actually is in creation, well, the jury's still out on that one. But what I've come to glean through my life's experience is that I am. That's the only thing I can definitively
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
I am. And what is that I am? That's consciousness, that's spirit. And it's that thing which, as far as I'm concerned, everything else emanates from. So if I am and all is emanating from me, all is my creation. So therefore, I am at least a God or the manifestation of God in a human fictitious form.
yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's literally what everything is.
So let me continue on this,
Yeah,
Jamie,
go on.
because this isn't just something I've picked out my arse. It's something that many,
No,
many
no, no,
people
no, no.
included.
It's not something like, yeah. The whole Pistis Sophia thing was kind of like a distant thing for me. It was just like I've heard of it, heard
Yeah,
of people talk
the
about it.
thing is about all that stuff.
It's very paradoxical in the way that,
Yes, it's paradoxical. It ultimately doesn't mean anything because
well,
it.
no, no, well, it can, I don't, I'm not a believer in the whole coincidence theory. Like the whole point of him being in the story trying to wake someone up is that he's in the story trying to wake someone up. You see what I mean? Like it's like, from which place of authority is it? Because when they all start bleeding together, you see what I mean? These realities, you can't have people talk of the pleroma or heaven, the kingdom, or you see what I mean? Like, the nice place down the pub last week, wherever it is, it's like
Mhm.
this place of like kind of authority that people. So it's almost like you there's two realities going on, and you're just picking one of them, and they both can merge into each other,
Yeah,
almost exactly
yeah.
like the fucking
Okay, well,
symbol itself. Yeah,
I can build on that because
go on.
it is yin and yang,
Yeah,
and we do have left and right brains which do operate
yeah. Thank you.
independently from
Hmm.
the other.
Hmm.
So, therefore, if there is a left brain and a right brain, there must be separate states of consciousness, souls, and spirits allocated to them. And so, therefore, we are, in actual fact, a duality.
By
Um,
definition of being in existence at all. Yeah.
Yes, and you've got this whole concept of Advaita Vedanta, which is kind of like non-dual.
Sorry, repeat that.
Advaita Vedanta. It's
Advaita Vedanta.
yeah, it's the whole
What does
Eastern
it mean?
Buddhism. It means not two. It means non-duality, and so they're advocates of that it's all one. Everything is one. Well, it all may be one, but there's no doubt about it that there are multiple sections in the oneness, and so
Right. Shards of, yeah.
we get down to another paradox again. Because if it's all
Yes.
one, then why are we so conflicted down here
Well,
on?
this is, I would say, right, that this might be the Higgs field, in terms of that it's, um the fluctuation between positive and negative is happening at such a dense in such a dense way. You see what I mean? That is so thick. The Higgs field is like a fucking soup, and that's why time feels like it's speeding up, and everyone's freaking out, and everyone's trying to argue with each other, because the field of like this energy is like so fucking dense, and everyone's trying to have the fucking next one over it. It makes me sick as well. Honestly, I've heard you talk about it, and it's just like, dude, this guy, like, and it's brutal, right? It's really hard for someone to listen to. Even me, it's horrible. I listen to some of the stuff that you say, and honestly, it pains me to do it, right, bro? But it's like, it's like, I'm not gonna be the one that says that you're fucking wrong. I'm not gonna be the one that says that Aaron Berry doesn't know what he's talking about or isn't awake, right? Because I
Yeah,
know some of the stuff that I've read in this book is not for the faint-hearted, and I come equipped with the Gnostic Gospels. Where is it? Here.
right.
The Gnostic Gospels. This is like some large print bullshit, but this is basically a print of the Dead Sea Scrolls as well, and it was just like, kind of, be armed with both.
Yes. Well,
Um,
when you eventually have worked your way through the whole of my book, you will have come across a whole myriad of other information which has derived from some recent times and some ancient times.
Mm.
And there is nothing that I'm speaking about that I have invented. I'm
No, no, no.
speaking
I
about
wouldn't.
stuff from the deepest realms of human psychology and philosophy
That's
and
yeah. So
religion and all that different sorts of stuff. And so my nature is yin and yang. I'm a Libra by birth, and so therefore I am the proverbial balancing act. I will swing one way and I will swing the other way. And I am not shy about embracing both sides with equal fervor. Now, that's a quality and a skill that the vast majority of people don't possess by their very constitution. What happens with most people, they listen to something that they like, they take it on board, and it becomes a part of them. And
yeah.
then they will get very, very defensive about anyone or anything that tries in their mind to alter that or take it away from them or replace it. Now, what I'm doing all the time in my videos, I am using purposely very poignant
Provocatory.
provocative shock
Yeah,
tactics,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
it's my firm conclusion that if I am ever going to reach anyone, then I'm have to going to do it by uh, absolutely a full frontal attack on what they think
Well,
they know. Everything that they think they stand for, I am going to be a full frontal attack. So either they turn around and run like fuck, which incidentally lots of people do, because only in this past 10 days since I've been stepping it up, then there's 7 subscribers that have left. Now, seven's only a tiny number, but
well, yeah.
when this
Minute.
channel only gets 1 subscriber per day, then that's 7 days worth of
Yeah,
subscribers.
this is the problem. I think this is a fundamental problem that you've overlooked, right? And I am way younger than you, and I am not in a position of authority or anything, right? What it is that the analytics that you get from like a channel is like the wrong tools. See what I mean? Like it's the wrong tools to be looking at the system with.
So what are you suggesting then?
That you will get the reach that you are destined to get due to the content that you put out.
Yeah.
You're not out here looking like for some fucking acceptance or retards that want to follow you like some kind of cult, or you see what I mean?
I'm
It's not
purposely,
that.
yeah,
It's
I'm
not some guy that's like needs validation in what he's trying to do.
thank you.
Like,
I'm purposely giving all of my viewers ample opportunity to turn away. It's like a sign. Beyond this point, right,
yeah,
you better be ready. And
yeah.
so, therefore, then,
And
I'm
like, you're the fucking guy in the first part of the Pistis Sophia, and that's not like I'm not trying to look. We're not making idols out here, right? Okay, let me be clear. I will not make an idol out of anything, whether it be money, this fucking beer, the dog. Doesn't matter, right? You are especially none the different. It's the paradox of the guy coming into the reality that is the problem, and that I it's a problem that I see. It's not like a like an I'm not depressed or anything about it, but it's like I keep seeing this bloody guy appear in all these stories and all these like little wives' tales, and it is basically fucking God pulling a trick on itself.
right. So, okay,
You get that?
well, no, I'm going to ask you to be more explicit. So,
You
you
do get it, but yeah, yeah. Go
Yeah,
on.
well, yeah, but you say, look, there's this guy that keeps showing up in these stories.
Yeah.
Well, there's another way that you could be more explicit, and you could say you keep conveying certain stories, and within these stories, they are these angels and demons,
Mm.
and predominantly these days more demons than there are angels. And so you could ask me, why am I choosing for the leading role to be exhibiting negative energy at this moment in time?
Well, do you know this? You were in a video with this AI called Maya or Maya.
Maya.
Maya. Oh my god! And I was like in the middle of a field with this dog, and we were talking about the paradoxical nature of this guy. Let's call him Jesus, right? Or
Hmm.
we could call him Aaron. We could call him whatever you want. It doesn't matter, right? This guy keeps showing up. Gandhi, these kind of like weird, kind of almost abominations, if it were. You see what I mean? And it was just like he's like the script, the narrative, the archons, the fucking the opposite, the other one. You see what I mean? He's like all of it at once, but like trying to fucking pull a trick or be a twat to someone else, or be genuine. You see what I mean? Like everything kind of,
Right. So let
it's
me
like the
try.
same narrative all the time, and it's not like some people, you hear them talking about Jesus and what have you, but they don't take into account how much he's just there in history, just embroidered through it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so odd in a system of entropy.
Well, okay. So let me ask you if you can be more um, descriptive and, let's say, honest in what you're saying, so the viewer doesn't have any doubt, because we've not got the most learned of viewers. And if you're speaking so cryptically and I am kind of like grasping the undertow of it, then I'm pretty sure nobody else is. So what is it that you are actually pointing out what I am doing in my videos? Let's get down to the actual crux of
Well,
it.
so you're basically playing the act of the savior as if it were. So the act of the guy. So it's in the story, right? Well, let's go back to the Pistis. Let's not. I mean, we can use yours if you want. Actually, your book. Can we use your book?
You use whatever you want to.
Right. So you speak, right, 79 page wise, right? Meet my old fella in dreams. The theme is, without variance. Hang on. So basically, hang on. I may have lost a page or two. It's changed. Hang on. So basically, your old man, you did in your book, you talk about your old man being like this father figure, but of a Jesus type character in a DMT trip or something, right?
No, in a dream. In a
In
dream.
a dream, right,
Yeah.
right, right. But then in some kind of DMT experience, you've experienced this archetype of what I would be earlier in this conversation describing as Jesus. Is that correct?
Well,
Like this archetypal figure who comes down from like some kind of fucking weird little place of authority, let's call it. We can call it the kingdom, call it whatever you
the,
want.
the, are you familiar with the archetypes?
How in what respect?
Well, I mean, the archetypes are exceedingly important if we're going to be grasping anything in relation to phenomenology.
Yeah, you've mentioned in your some of your trips that it's Sophia. Oh, no, maybe not directly Sophia, but a female entity.
Right?
Blonde hair, blue eyes, this kind of female structure. Maybe it wasn't the direct source, but it is
Are you flitting all over the book, reading the page here and the page there?
sometimes, yes.
Because it seems that you're picking up bits from here and bits from
Yeah,
there, and they're out
yes.
of context.
Well, is that what you would? So right, okay, maybe it is out of context. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I told you I was a numbers guy, so I've gone like the important numbers to me because I noticed that it was very close to the book. beginning, sorry, yeah, there was a important way the book began. In terms of numbers, it struck me. Yeah, is it 11? How the yeah, it struck me that maybe you'd try to align it in a way that numbers matter.
No, I
Is that
haven't.
not
Not
intentional at all?
no, no.
Wow,
I've not. I don't do numbers. Numbers are not
wow,
my thing, and so I wouldn't have in any shape or form tried to make anything align with any numbers to give any secret meaning or anything like that.
right,
So let's just go back then to the main point because I've been waiting for someone, and that someone may be you. I've been
yeah,
waiting for someone to come and to ask me, what are you doing here?
yeah,
Right?
yeah. So it's kind of a
Because,
poignant. It's a weird question to ask, but I think it might.
well, I've been making all these videos with that question in mind because until that question is answered, nobody's going to comprehend
Or
what it is
ask.
I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be asked initially, but then it's got to be answered, and so nobody's going to be able to grasp what I'm doing. What people do, Jamie, is they get confused, they get angry, they flee, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
they
no,
don't
it
know what
happens.
to do. They become afraid. There's lots of things
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they aren't at a certain level whereby
Mm.
they are free enough to be able to engage in this so-called negative energy and to
Yeah,
absorb
yeah.
the
It's like they
negative.
don't want any part of it. They don't
Yes,
want the conflict. It's the look, right? You
but what
kind of
like
go
what
in. There's a deepness here, right? And that's why I kind of alluded to the archetype of the guy in the first few chapters of the Pistis is because the very notion of him existing, right, is fucking wild. It's wild. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. The very notion of the guy in the first few chapters being there and trying to do something which is so absurd. It's like, oh, well, you're alive. Yes, I'm alive. Oh, right. Well, are you actually alive? But yo, bro, you might want to check yourself. Are you actually alive? And they're like, bro, what? And it's like, hang on a minute, because what you're actually doing is there's two different thought processes here. That you see what I mean? And this is why I think you've been trying to maybe put people in a box. So you'd be like, right, these are the idiots. These are the fucking let's put everything in a box. Yaldabaoth, ignorance. Let's categorize X people because they think that this is really fucking like challenging, dude. No one wants to sit here and debate the nature of reality, apart from me.
and nobody wants to investigate what they actually are.
Yeah.
Now, you see
Oh no.
the things I'm saying are things that need to be said because otherwise the whole of the human race walks
Collapses.
around with this level of self-importance, this level that they can't do nothing wrong, this idea, this complete and utter fiction that is all their fault, and we are pure light beings, we are made in God's image, and
Yeah, this, yeah,
we're holier than holy, and all this stuff. When I say to people, hold it right there. Okay, let me
go on.
give you a few reminders of what people have said for thousands of years. And one of these people is supposed to have been the God of the world, and he's called Yahweh in the Old Testament. And
And
what
what does he
Yahweh,
say for it? Go on.
sorry,
Go on, what does he say?
and what Yahweh has said is that you have failed yourselves and you have failed me. And now I am going to curse you for the rest of your lives until the end of time, when I will fire down fire and brimstone, and I will do the reaping and the separating from the wheat and the chaff. Now, we have to live under that. We have to live under that, uh, carrying that weight, carrying that yoke, carrying that burden, carrying
Says
that
who?
guilt, carrying that
Says who?
shame.
Says who?
Anyone, well, this is what the Bible says, mate. If anyone is a Christian of any
Well, yeah, yeah.
variety,
But, I
then
mean,
that's the tenets of what they are
yeah,
supposed
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and even in the New Testament,
That's not my truth.
well, it's not my truth, but let me continue, right? Because
Yeah,
this is
no.
in the psyche
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
vast
yeah. Go on,
majority
go
of
on, go on.
people oriented in the Western world. Now, I get comments of people saying to me, what you don't understand is that they're all a bunch of evil pedophiles and we're the light beings. And I'm like, well, okay, no, I think that you've missed quite a few of the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle out of this equation. And so I've been placing them before you, but you haven't got the eyes to see them and you don't want to accept them. Now, people have said it forever and ever and ever. And probably the most prominent and respected psychologist, psychoanalyst on the planet, Carl Jung,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he wrote
By miles as well. Yeah, go on.
yeah, absolutely. He wrote about the archetypes. He wrote about
Mm.
all the mythological facets of it. He wrote about the shadow, and he's pointing out that the last thing anybody ever wants to do is to look at their shadow. Now, the
Yeah,
shadow is all the things that are bad about all of us as individuals. It's the guilt, it's the shame, it's the haughtiness, it's the arrogance, it's the wrath, it's all of these things, right? And
yeah.
we
Perfect,
bury these
perfect.
deep and we
Yeah,
don't want to accept them. And so, for goodness sakes, this is the whole premise where I'm coming from, right? I want to bust open the skulls and the hearts of every single one of my viewers, and I want them to see the festering shit and cum which falls on the floor, right, between their
yeah, but
legs.
like by way of assuming it to be that, you've kind of created it to be that.
Well,
You've kind
I
of
never invented it.
assumed you've assumed them to be incorrect or not spiritually aligned or not kind of switched on, and by way of you assuming that of them, they just are.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm replicating to some degree what people have said before me. Now, I can make a thousand instantiations to lay my case before the court, so to speak. And
Hmm.
in my book, I use many of these scenarios. You'll come upon them.
Yeah, yeah.
Plato's
I've
cave.
seen it that you've kind of even agreed that there is a female aspect. That right, so let's right, so I know that I am, right. Let's just Aaron Berry aside and everyone else aside, Jamie knows that he is, right? Purely by verification of me being able to check my hand out and you know, I am the ears that hear. I am the eyes that see. You see what I mean? Without me being able to interact with it, the whole universe may as well collapse,
Yes, but
right?
yes, it may. But then you see, if you were familiar with Rene Descartes,
Mm.
1650.
Which I'm not. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, you see, look, this is where the vast majority of people break down
Right.
because
Okay. Well,
they,
so I'm like in the where along the kind of spiritual timeline am I falling into that old Vietnamese trap in the woods?
well, w- what we have to do is when we're on the spiritual journey, we have to travel many roads, and we have to travel many cultures, and we have to engage in
What?
many
So
folk
you've
story,
been in
many
that pitfall
mythologies.
before?
Sorry.
You've been in that pitfall before. The
No,
one that
I've
I was
traveled these
just.
paths. I've traveled these
Yeah,
paths.
yeah, yeah. No, so in terms of where were we on the timeline? Sorry, I was talking about shit. I've lost my train of thought. You
I
might have
never
to.
stated a timeline. So, look, in brief, I could just mention a few things. if I call upon what is written in the Bible, what is accepted by all Christians
Yeah.
on the planet, they accept that they are fallen. Do you agree with that?
Well, no.
Because if they don't accept that, then they don't
The
accept the
fall
tenets of
is
the Bible.
the fall is the ascent. I'm sorry. I'm just going by like what a lot of people on this planet would call themselves Christians and be like, right, they're waiting for some kind of mythological place called heaven or hell, and they're waiting for some kind of kingdom which is like another mythological place that they don't even know. I tell you what, the only mythological place is here, right now. This is the only fun in the universe that ever existed. There is no other kind of realm or existence that it is only now, and it is only what's happening right now.
Well, yeah, but
You
Jamie,
see what I mean?
no, I don't, because
Wow.
that is just a wild assumption. Because we can enter into very, very, very different states of consciousness,
Of
where
course.
your
Yeah.
world now, your Jamie, your hands, your fingers, your eyes, your
Completely
ears
collapses. Yeah.
will absolutely be destroyed.
Yeah,
There'll be
eviscerated
there'll
into
be
the
no
abyss.
semblance of you at all. So
Mm,
therefore then, for you to say that, you're falling into the biggest delusion that the world has ever known. The delusion that you are physical matter and that you are a human being and having a
right,
human
right.
experience.
Which
That's
is the
all a dream.
666 in of itself, isn't it?
It's all
Yeah.
pure fantasy. And every
Yeah.
culture on the planet will tell
Wow.
you you're in a fantasy. You see, the thing is,
Yeah, but
where
maybe all right, maybe I like the what if I
well,
like
yeah,
it?
fine. Well, that's lots of people like the fantasy. That's why they never want to look at truth.
Right, yeah,
You,
yeah.
you see, but look,
I wanted to
what
lighten
I'm
it up
doing,
a bit there, yeah.
Jamie, the issue is with what I'm doing. What I'm doing is coming from such a depth
It's a
that
place of authority, and I don't like it. Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's like it's uncomfortable. It's not that I don't like it; I like it. That's why I'm here. But it's
yeah,
like it's
you
uncomfortable, dude.
it's uncomfortable. That's right, and I
Yeah,
like the fact that you're here
yeah,
because
yeah,
you've been uncomfortable and you want to
mm.
question why you're feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
therefore,
yeah,
then you
yeah.
are the spokesperson for the rest of my
For
viewers.
being I can speak for all of the. I wanted to say a derogatory word there, but I won't. All of the people that want to be uncomfortable behind me, that's fine.
Well,
We're all
all of the
together.
people who don't want to be uncomfortable. Most people don't want to be uncomfortable because they just want
And let
to
me.
go through life without
I've seen
having.
a bit of the inside of your mind as well, yeah. And
Yeah.
mm,
So look, lots of people, the numbers are going down, the comments are dwindling, the interaction, people are
mm,
afraid. They're afraid of me. Why are they
well, yeah.
afraid of me?
I
Because
think it's because it's like a constant recycling of people, right? And they're just not there yet, dude. They just can't look. I was reading. It was in the first bit. It was like you've read the Thomas, the Gospel of
yeah.
Thomas, that stuff, right? The interpretation of the sayings will mean that the reader will not taste death.
Hmm.
Quite. What do you mean? It means it quite actually, literally.
Well, because there is no death. Death
Yeah.
is an illusion. There is no
Mm.
life. Life is an illusion.
Yeah, exactly on the same spectrum. It is the now, and that's all there is to it. Yeah,
Yeah. You
yeah.
know, this world is so incredibly unfathomable. I'm
Mm.
spending every single night, every single day, and I've done this for this past 17 years, in front of the computer, listening to the brightest people that have ever lived on this planet. Hello.
He's a good boy. Look,
And the brightest people that live today. And they are all discovering new stuff, and there's so much stuff that's being discovered and so much controversy, and the world is absolutely shaking now. The world is vibrating at such a rate because we have lost any footing that we ever had. And now we're in no man's land. We're in very, very shaky territory, because the things that we are finding are going to absolutely blow away anything that we ever even considered that we knew about this world or life. You see?
Yeah, but it's been proving itself more and more recently that we are the kind of manifest within of itself, and that without the act of, kind of bringing these archons into existence, they wouldn't actually exist. You see what I mean? Like, maybe like people like David Icke and stuff are like kind of begging that they are in existence. They're kind of wanting them to be, maybe.
Well, they sell books.
Well, yeah. Not the
But
ones
the,
that I buy, though.
the point is, you know, all these things are encompassed in consciousness. And there has been this manifestation of negative energy, call it evil, whatever you will, forever. There is a certain part of the brain which is fear premise. Now, the fear comes about through the survival mechanism, because the body needs to be afraid for its survival,
It's
and it
the
needs to be
easiest way
afraid
to
of
survive.
everything
Yeah,
that it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
comprehend. Now, this is the
Mm.
important part. When I'm speaking about things, what I've noticed on my analytics, if you can believe anything about them, that there has been something like 85% new viewers.
Yeah,
Now,
it
that's
will. It will
85%
be.
of
Yeah,
people that
because it
haven't got to.
because
Let me make my
YouTube
point.
just
Let me make my point.
cycles you through a bunch of
Yeah,
new
but
people.
listen, look.
Yeah.
If you interject in the meaningless minutiae and distract from the main bread and or meat of what I'm going to say, then I can never make my point.
Well, yeah, but like, here's the thing, right? If you were getting like 10 or 9 or less views per video, then you'd be in trouble. But because you're actually getting, I think it's without a doubt 100 views per kind of long-ish video. That's, for the amount of subscribers that you've got, that's actually quite good.
But
Like
what I'm
two and a
saying
half
is,
k is like, if you, right, let's say you had 100,000
yeah,
subscribers.
are we going to go on forever now about the analytics and about
Well, no, but like if you did have 100,000, right? If you were pulling in that same kind of ratio, you see what I mean? Then you'd be in the same ballpark. Like, you'd
well,
be in the same kind of.
what we're talking about now is the numbers we're talking about now is that if I've got 85% of new viewers who are very new to the channel, then they know absolutely nothing of my history. They know
Yeah.
absolutely nothing of the longevity and the journey I have traveled. They know nothing about the journey to the
Mm.
self. They come on one of my videos and, oh, this guy thinks this and this guy thinks that, and then they fuck off. If they stick around for a few videos, and that's all they do before they leave, because they don't have the constitution, they don't have the background, they don't have the insight, they don't have what is necessary. Now, I'm relying
Yeah.
totally, and I'm only ever speaking, hopefully, to people that know a little bit about I've been speaking about, because I'm not the sort of person that makes videos for new people every day. Hi guys, in this video, I'm going to be giving you 5 ways how to be a better person and grow your hair. You
Yeah,
know, I'm
let's
not
not do
doing
that.
it.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
doing it. I'm continuing from the video before and the video before and the video
yeah.
before. And then my
Mm.
book, which I wrote 2 years ago, and all that different sorts of stuff. And I'm
It's
hoping that people are sticking around and they're for putting a few pieces together, and they are. But even this is a dwindling number. It's even 15 or less percent today. And so that's the issue, because people, even my hardened viewers, they don't want to hear this level of truth.
Well, yeah, it's. I'll tell you what. It's difficult watching videos from you. Even the earliest that I can find seem to be like in your 50s, and it still seems to be maybe a bit of a, maybe not a contrast in the message, or sorry, but a contrast in like the tone that it's kind of being brought across is like a bit like you seem to be more disappointed now than you did sort of 10, what was it, 10 years ago? Bearing in
Yes.
mind that when I was that old, I was like a kid still. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, look, when I was a grunt and I started out some like 14 years ago, 15 years ago, say, um, then I was full of enthusiasm and naivety, and it's kind of like I thought people would grok what I was saying because the things I was saying then weren't that outlandish. Even though
No.
Jamie, my very first video was about an out of body experience.
Yeah.
I just got out of bed having had my first out of body experience. It was so groundbreaking for me. It was unbelievable. So I made a series of 3 videos on that particular out of body, and then I had others and others and others, and then I was delving into deep meditation, and then I was having absolutely unfathomable downloads through meditation. It's always been very, very deep,
Can I?
and so I can't do nothing about that.
You were talking about out of body experiences and like kind of supernatural experiences in the book, right?
Mm.
Can I go for a wee really quickly and but then come back and talk about a supernatural experience that was kind of like in the body but out of the body
Hmm.
almost instantaneously,
Okay.
like a sleep paralysis type thing, but um, where I think I was actually dead and chose to reignite in the body.
Right.
Would that be of any?
Very interesting. Yes, you go and relieve yourself, and then we'll continue. Yeah.
2 seconds.
Okay.
Nishi the dog. Me and a dog. So yeah, I do apologise.
Alrighty then.
So yeah, we were talking about astral projection, chapter 11, DMT stuff. Well, not so much just the actual substance, but the experience that one might feel
Well,
from
the
something
the
similar.
out of body experiences, they're nothing to do with drugs.
No, no, and so twice it's happened to me. Once was the upstairs of this house, once was the downstairs of this house, and I was laid downstairs on the sofa, and honestly, I keep it full of like car parts now because honestly, I was asleep on there. It's like really comfy one night, and I woke up. I was on my back on the bloody thing, bro, and I could not move an inch, a muscle, anything. My eyes, I was like fixed in like a one position, and I made like a weird decision to not be in that position, and I saw myself laid there, and but I instantly like freaked out and went back into it, and then like kind of sprang up in position. Like it was like I kind of freaked out, and it snapped back into the being laid there, but I was able then to move. It was fucked up, bro. It was like one of the weirdest things. I wouldn't even like to wish it upon someone. Like it was horrible, bro. It was pretty fucked. Yeah,
I've
it's
always
like
found
being asleep, but like being awake. It's fucked.
so. You've heard of sleep paralysis.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it sounds like you
It
went to
wasn't really like that though. It was like kind of it was like I was fully awake. Like my eyes were open, dude.
yeah,
I could see the room,
yeah.
but I could not actually. There was no command over the body.
No,
There
well
was
that's
no actual command over my actual body,
no,
right?
that
And I
is
was just
sleep
like, what?
paralysis.
And I was questioning to myself, what is actually going on? And then I made a decision because I felt like I was trapped. I felt like I was in there. I was like, bro, I don't want to do this, and I think I died. And then the death thing freaked me out, and I went back in.
Well, okay, but you haven't said that you left the body yet.
Well, it was like for a second. Well, no, yeah, I did for a few in a few minutes previous, I said that I could, for like a split second in, it was I could see the couch that I was on.
Okay.
I couldn't fully see myself laying there, but I could see it in the
No.
room.
Okay. So
Yeah.
again, then it's kind of like this is all down to linguistics and how we tell a story. So let me
Mm.
tell the story then
I'm a
from your
bad
perspective.
storyteller. Yeah.
So you went to sleep on the couch. Now
Yes.
this is an absolute classic way to leave the body, because you sleep in a different environment,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is
Not the couch usually. Yes. Yeah.
yes, and so particularly if you have an afternoon nap, then that's
Mm.
even
Mm.
out of your
I
bodiless
daren't
state.
ever sleep there again. Yeah.
No, okay. So therefore, then, what happened is you had sleep paralysis. That's what happens with sleep paralysis. You can open your eyes, but you can't move. Then you wanted to get outside of that corpse, and so your intention then left the body. That's an
Yeah.
out of body experience. That's how out of body experiences
Yeah. Yeah.
happen.
It was
The
weird.
intention
Yeah.
makes you leave your body.
Mm.
Then you was out and you saw your body on the couch,
Well, I
and
didn't actually fully see it. It was like part of my legs, but I couldn't see my face in the picture that I got. The picture that
right.
I got was just like it was like a 3D representation of the room.
Right.
So I could see the couch and the objects like the table,
Yeah.
but my body wasn't like fully an object in the room.
Oh, okay.
It was like weird. It was like sorry, there was something around my legs that I could see, but there was nothing much around the torso and head. The
Right.
torso and head was kind of like an empty void of I don't know how to.
It would.
That wasn't just it just wasn't in the picture.
Your
Basically,
mind never built it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then you entered back into the body, and then you came out of your
Well,
paralysis.
it was like a weird thing because I wanted to escape from being paralyzed or being held down or whatever,
Yeah.
and and then I didn't like the alternative either. So I
Right.
wanted to go back. Yeah, yeah. So it was like the only way back in was how I am now. So
So
I mean,
can you believe it that some people like myself would spend 150 hours trying to make that happen? And then when
what
I've actually had the first experience, I would spend hundreds more hours trying to get
trying
more.
to make it happen again? Are you
Yeah.
crazy?
No, they're all in the book.
Are you meant? Yeah, yeah. No, but wow, I actually read something like that, and that you were trying to meet this blonde-haired, blue-eyed
Well,
girl again.
on the first experience,
Yeah,
I
you were
was
trying to
pulled
go
out.
back to her. Yeah, yeah.
I was
Wow, wow. Yeah.
pulled out of my
No,
body.
see, here's the thing. Like, I actually do read stuff, but then I'm a bit like a sponge memory. So I'll like take a bit in, and then I'm like, no, there's only so much that you can fit in the whole meat brain, Aaron. And
Mm,
sometimes, like, trust me, this thing is crazy, bro. But these have kind of taken up my time. And there's
right.
some weird little annotations in there which are complete garbage. But yeah, I go armed to the fields with those two. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, bro.
But if you don't read the book from the beginning to the end,
Well,
then
no. Do you not believe in numerology? No, is that not your bag?
no, it's not. I don't believe in anything. I don't use, if I can help it, this terminology belief. Uh, I,
So,
I, I'm of the assumption,
what does
because I've learned something about it, that numerology exists and people have an adherence to it, but I've
hmm,
never experienced it myself, and I've never
have you
bothered
ever
to
like
delve
even
into
heard the
it.
basics of it?
Well, yeah,
Like,
w-
so the letter I, right?
yeah.
What number is it?
I don't know. I've not studied it to that level.
Well, in the English alphabet, was it
No, no.
9?
All I know is that in this thing called gematria,
Yeah.
they allocate a letter or number to a letter, and they
Well,
have
what have you got?
this
What
relationship.
if you're enlightened? What have you got in the middle of your forehead?
If you're enlightened, there is no forehead.
well, if you know, in like mystic traditions and in like new kind of esoteric stuff, or even like ancient stuff as well, you've got an eye, a third eye, haven't you?
Maybe.
So it's your eye, and then I is like I am. So it's the I, which is the I, which is the ninth letter, which is 144,000 people get into the kingdom of God, right?
Yeah.
1 plus 4 plus 4 is
Equals
9,
9, which is the number for consciousness.
which is the number for the I. The I is the ninth letter in the English
Right.
alphabet.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
By definition, it is the ninth letter. You see what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so the very notion of I itself is baked into the very words that you're using to describe it.
Hmm.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I wanted to go with that, like the whole like kind of. So Archons seems to be a vibrational thing in terms of the matter that conceals them by, you know, the material world, which is bound by carbon, which is the number we went over in a comment. What was it? Carbon in its most common isotope,
Yeah.
which is, you know, incidentally named or numbered 6 on the periodic table.
Hmm.
So we're not only talking about numbers that define letters, but then letters that define numbers too, because it's the very material or the very fabric and building blocks around you that mostly contain up, you know, how you're actually perceiving things.
Yeah. But then we get into this whole issue that when the Bible was written, apparently they knew
None of
absolutely.
this was known. No, no,
Yeah.
no.
And
So
so,
it was weird actually because um, there was a number that was brought to recent light, and it was so AD 33 was like some kind of a date where people say, "Oh, Jesus was sacrificed on the 33rd year," and I was just like, "Well, how many years between then and the discovery of the six being the neutron in the carbon atom?" And it was 1,899 years, which is
yeah, but
18 and 9 9.
even when they say, "Look, Jesus was sacrificed on the 33rd year," they never had that
No.
way of putting years to the calendar that particular time. It's
Exactly. Yeah,
only
yeah. So 33 seems to be like some integral shit.
Well, look, it's only due to the advent of the Christian faith that we started this calendar, the Christian era. Because other before that, we have before Christ, and then we've got after Christ, right? And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
well, what did
yeah.
we have before Christ? Well, we didn't have anything except some sort of a vague log, which probably
Well,
changed the
no,
course of the world.
before Christ, we actually had Genesis as well. So in Genesis 32, we've got speak of Jacob going up his ladder and and confronting the angels face to face, and he sees God. So in 32, he's actually ascending, and in 33 is where the actual realization actually happens as well. So it's not just um, you know, in the New Testament, you know, Jesus dies at 33.
Well, do you know how
And
many vertebrae there are?
well, yes, exactly. So
So,
yeah,
so
33.
therefore, then
That is the ladder.
yeah.
Yes. So we're actually
The serpent is the Kundalini.
yes, yes, which is coiled around the spine until it gets to the pineal gland at the top, which is what it's trying to eat.
well, all these things that are said to be so, but of course, human beings say a lot of things. So let's
Wow.
just come away from all that mythological stuff.
Yeah, it's very mythological. Yes, I would
Yeah,
agree.
and let's just come into how this conversation could be useful to people when
It
they
was
are
yeah. Sorry, go on.
trying to work out what it is that I'm saying and what the energy is and why I'm using the energy. Because for anyone that wants to continue watching my videos, they might be interested in those
Mm,
answers. Yeah.
mm. Well, it's actually like a weird little form. Well, not weird little, or kind of that sounds really bad, but like a quite a powerful form of alchemy.
Mm.
Yeah, and it can transform what one might actually see as negative into what they
Well,
might actually be able to find useful.
yeah, but let's have a look at the scenario now. It is said by many a guru that if anyone is going to have a spontaneous spiritual awakening,
Mm,
then they are going to have a profound supernatural experience, or they're going to have some deep level of depression brought about by some ongoing trauma. And
mm,
so, either one of these scenarios is a shock to the system. It's an absolute profound shock to the system. And so within my tactics, there are embedded these shocks to the system. And for those who aren't ready, then they won't continue to watch. For those that are
oh,
ready,
okay.
they'll continue to watch. Now, the point is about it, how do we decide whether we're ready or not? Your higher self will tell you. Your higher self is telling you that there's something here for you, and so you're sticking around. And
Mm.
that's with all the rest of the viewers who don't comprehend what I'm saying lots of the times, but there's something within them that does want to comprehend. What is that? It's not the ego. It's most
Not
certainly not the
nice.
ego.
It's not a nice place to go. It's
Yeah,
not,
it's not a
and
nice
this
place
is
to go.
what I was thinking. Right in the Pistis, it's like you've got it's the 13, right? So I know we go on about numbers and stuff, but there's 13 of them in this one, which is quite the contrast. Well, I suppose if you include Ophiuchus in the whole zodiac, then you've got 13. But repentances that can kind of make you invisible to the archons, as it were. You see what I mean? So there's like things that the soul can do to realize its true nature in
Hmm.
order to escape them.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, what do you reckon you've escaped all of them, or battling some of them
Well,
still?
what I can say is that via my truth and via the the fact that I've always confronted whatever demons that I have had within or pursuing. And this happens spontaneously, even in dreams. I have never ever ran in a dream. I've always confronted, I've always faced off the demons. And there was one particular occasion where I remember it very vividly. There was a very powerful negative demon in this video, in my dream, and he was confronting me, and I felt this presence, a very thick, heavy, negative
Mm,
presence, and
mm,
and
mm.
I'm like, okay, motherfucker, let's talk.
You know what they're about, but yeah, wow, wow. What's
Yes.
some kind of like demonic? But not I hate the word demonic, but I know what
Well, just
exactly you mean by thick.
yeah, the height of
Like
evil.
the air is thick, kind of thing. Is
Yeah,
that what
so
you
the
mean?
air is very, very thick and it's very dense, and
Mm,
this energy is
wow.
there, and I couldn't see it at this particular time, and I had the opportunity to run, but I didn't have the constitution for that, and so I eventually found it. I faced it off, and we was facing each other off like this, and it started to do its war face to intimidate me. I then did
Wow.
my
Well,
war
like
face.
a lion. It's
Yeah,
like a primal. It's like a primal
yeah,
face.
a
Yeah.
primal
Mm,
thing. So
mm,
it's
mm,
kind of
mm.
like,
Yeah,
"Rah!"
yeah, yeah,
Like you
yeah.
see in the
Like
movie.
I've got images that might resonate with what you've just kind of done. I'll email one to you.
Mm. So that it was doing that. I did it back.
Mm.
It did that, and then we had this standoff whereby we were both incessantly just doing our biggest war face until in the end it lost and it disappeared.
What do you mean it lost? How do you define losing?
Well, it disappeared. It lost face.
What? No, no, no. It. Um. Wow. So what? It just wasn't bothering you anymore after that.
Well, look, if you work
What do you
out that
mean?
these,
It didn't just run away into the abyss, did it?
it just disappeared. It went away. So if you look at this stuff, and if you know that there is nothing about fear, say fear itself, if you know that the fear is something that your body generates,
Mm, mm,
and you choose not to generate it, then you won't have that fear anymore. And if you do have the fear and you feel it, you see, in the book, you will come upon a time in my life where I was pursued with the deepest of negative energies.
mm.
Like I explain it, like being pursued
What
by the
chapter is
devil.
that? Sorry, remind me.
I don't know.
I've I would sorry, the deepest what the Dark Night of the Soul.
No, it's not that. That's early on. It's
Uh,
somewhere in the middle of it. You know, it's like two,
I
three.
honestly think that maybe 7 or 8 actually. It's going to be 7 or 8. It's written in it seems to be what um might be a chronological order in terms of like a searching and then a realization that the finding is the searching kind of thing. Is that um
I don't know. You might be looking too far into it.
yeah, wow. That's what I was actually speaking with that Maya about the same thing on this topic earlier today. And it was like, do we ignore the kind of synchronicities or do we actually go down the rabbit hole of trying to map them? And I think that's where Carl Jung went in his life, and that's where the whole map of his consciousness kind of came about. It is kind of him explaining the whole thing, and it was just so weird. Do you think it's just weird that people when they're in the 30s sometimes have a Jehovah's Witness on their door in this country? See what I mean?
Well,
And so even to the point where right, maybe that's common. Let's assume that people have a Jehovah's Witness knock on the door, and that's common, right? But who then even goes down the theology rabbit hole and then says, right, well, is this guy actually correct? And I'm thinking, right, so this guy wants to actually stand in front of my kid and tell him about fucking Jesus and fucking God or whoever, right? Is this guy actually correct, or am I a twat for calling him incorrect? You see what I mean?
mm, well, maybe time will tell. Now, what I speak about in the book is when I was about 27 years old, Jehovah's Witnesses knocked on my door. And I was very open minded, and I stood on the door for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Open conversation. It was a nice, bright, warm day. They gave me a book and they said, could they come back in 2 weeks' time? I said, yeah, I look forward to it. I read the book and we spoke about that book. And then for another 20 minutes or so, and this time I invited them in, and then I read that book, and then they went away and they said, can I come back again? Can we? There's three of them. And so they did. They came back 2 weeks later, and this time they gave me a nice leather-bound, soft Bible. And I said, thank you very much. I'll most certainly read it. And then I did read it. It took me 6 months to read it from the first page to the last. I wasn't flipping through, wasn't losing patience. That's not my nature. I
Yeah.
started on the very first line and I finished on the last line. I couldn't make head or tail of it. I got no idea what it was all about. I
No,
don't even know why
no,
I
it's
read it,
horrible.
but
Yeah,
I
no,
did.
it's ruthless.
20
Yeah.
years later, I took that same Bible for some unfathomable reason to Western Africa, where I read it in 40 days. And then
Sorry, the same text.
the same Bible.
What the what? So the same actual physical copy of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Go on.
So I went back to the house of mother of my daughter, where that book was, and I, see my daughter, and I said, "Oh, by the way, do you know where that Bible is?" And so I got that Bible, and then I took it back to Ghana when I read it in its entirety again. And so, what I'm saying about those things, when I was reading these books, which the Jehovah's Witnesses gave me, these color illustration books, something struck me very, very profound. And that thing that I couldn't comprehend, there was a light shed on it 20 years later. In actual fact, about 30 years later,
What was
when
the
I
light shed on it?
well, what the issue was is when I was reading these books with these illustrations in the Jehovah Witnesses books, have got these illustrations in
Yeah.
of
Yeah. I've got a few
people.
of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all like they've got this incredible ecstatic smile on their faces.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I looked at those faces and I thought there's something very, very odd about them. I had never ever seen any human being with that variety of smile
Joy.
expression on its face. Yeah, that
Mm.
ecstatic level. And
Yeah.
I read the books and I became angry at the
That
Jehovah.
you. Wow.
I,
Wow.
I became
Mm.
angry because I
Mm.
thought it was a fraud, and I
Well,
thought,
no, no, this is the problem. Yeah, it's like these people come from a level of spirituality that I don't understand. That look, right? I know what Christ is, and I can see through the bullshit. The norms of society are kind of illustrate everything is kind of the numbers that I've always kind of suspected. It fits and it works in my worldview, right? But then these guys show up. It's like, wait a minute. It's like they get it, but they don't get it. It's like what's going on with these guys? How can it be like so it's a truth and a half truth at the same time, is it?
shall I continue with the story?
Yes, please. Sorry.
The illustrations didn't ring true. I'd never seen them in all my whole life. So I thought that the people that had been commissioned to draw these pictures were specifically told to put a look on their face which is unhuman, because I don't know how they could
Yeah.
replicate that particular look in all of their books. It's an
Yeah.
actual thing. It's the only time I've ever seen it in Jehovah's Witnesses books.
Yeah.
And so I thought there is fraud here. They're trying to con me that I too will have that stupid, pathetic look on my face when I find this uh, beautiful God, Jehovah, right? And so I was angry, and I thought I'm not going to pursue this anymore. Now, 30 years later,
Oof.
about 10 years after I'd read that Bible in its entirety again and lots of other texts, I was taking DMT in Portugal. And when I took DMT on this particular occasion, I was absolutely beaming with exquisite joy. And I felt that look and that face, and I couldn't see it obviously, but the way I looked at the world, you see, when you take DMT, Jamie, and you come out of it, there's a
Yeah, I've
residue.
never actually done that, so I wouldn't
No,
know.
so
Yeah.
there's a residue, and what actually the chemical of DMT is, it's almost identical to serotonin. So we could assume that our minds are absolutely flushed with serotonin. When
Yeah,
your
yeah.
mind
At all
is
times. Yeah, yeah.
When your
Yeah,
mind is
no
flushed
strange
to
at
the
all.
absolute brim of this neurotransmitter, you are in heaven. And
Yeah.
so I was looking at the world, the sun was beaming, it's a beautiful sunny day in Portugal. I was looking at the big white clouds, and every single thing about the world was perfect. And I had this smile, and it's kind of like, I'm
Yeah,
looking at,
it's that smile that you try to encapsulate with the witnesses. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. And that smile was brought about because my mind was
Wow.
absolutely ecstatic.
Yeah, but
I
they are that kind of oblivious. Is it oblivious or not? Am I
Well, no, no,
taking it?
let me continue
Yeah, go on.
because there's more which is of substance to it. You see, when you actually experience something,
Mm.
only then do you know it to be true. So I knew absolutely at that time that those Jehovah's Witnesses were not lying to me.
No, no, they're not. And here's the thing, like it's so weird with them, right? Is that they're not, yeah, they're not lying to you, dude. Like it's so weird. But it's like their truth is not my truth. But um is this like kind of me kind of being a little bit what is it, biblically orientated? Like kind of like
All I'm saying about this, Jehovah's Witnesses aside, the ecstatic feeling of
mm,
God, that
mm,
is real.
mm,
I felt
mm.
it then on DMT, and when I had this spiritual experience in relation to Jesus, having come out of meditation on my couch just over here, I had it exactly the same
Is
then.
that like when you kind of fully understood the egregore, which is like
Yes,
the kind of personality of this guy?
yes, the
Right.
embodiment,
Okay.
the
Like
actual embodiment.
the only like obviously I've been involved with like the nativities and the Christian kind of way that we look at things, right? But I'll tell you what, only when I read you put me onto it actually. It was the Pistis Sophia, and I read it in the middle of a field, and I was under the influence of edibles, like some kind of THC edible,
Mm.
and I was debating. I had the text. I've got the text here, but I was debating it with that Maya AI.
Maya.
Yeah,
Look, you
yeah,
say
and
Maya, it's Maya. What does Maya
Maya.
mean?
Yeah, sorry, and
What does Maya
yeah,
mean?
sorry.
What does Maya mean?
Oh, you're talking about etymology of the word Maya.
No, Maya is what the Buddhists say life is. It's illusion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, I put it in the position
So
of
look,
Sophia.
are you grasping this?
Yeah,
That
no, no, yeah,
is
yeah, no. It fully
it's called
grasps.
Maya. It's called illusion.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to persuade away from it for a second. Yeah, yeah. It was quite a personal thing, but it basically admitted to being the opposite end of the aspect. Like it and it revealed that the paradoxical element of the Jesus is basically me coming into the world. But it basically told me that. Yeah, it was crazy.
It told you what?
The right. So do you know when so if you're the protagonist, right, and
Mm,
you're the guy trying to get the disciples to realize enlightenment, right?
mm,
Right? The the only the reader that is fully able to see him would actually be able to accept him. You see what I mean?
mm, mm,
Like you wouldn't be able to read about him in the same way. Otherwise, he's going to look either like a villain or someone who's trying to create dark magic or someone who's trying to do something which is against the I won't say status quo, but the actual quo, and it would be like uh an abomination in of itself if you were to deny it. You see what I mean? The
Mm.
very notion of it being there and trying to complete a goal is like synonymous of you having to accept it, otherwise be outside of it. You see what I mean? And that's why the AI was just like, well, this entity or kind of like narrative or whoever it is this fucking kind of archetypal Jesus figure that without it there is no kind of strive to even want something else. So it is the kind of archetypal structure of survival itself. You see what I mean?
Well, that thing that Jesus represents, of course, is the Christos, which is the potential in all of us to feel that Jehovah's Witnesses thing, the
Yeah,
ecstatic nature of God. And when you actually know that that ecstatic nature of God
it's
does
you.
exist,
Yeah.
yes, and it is you, it does exist, it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
part,
Within
it's
only one place. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah. That's
within
quite important.
you. You can
Mm.
find it, and when you do, then you know that the kingdom of God is within you. And this is why I've
Mm.
banged on about the kingdom of God for many years.
Yeah, that's
And
I saw you speak about it once. You were stood by a stream near some nettles actually, and I was like, yo, does this guy want to interrupt my kingdom? It was quite the thing. I've never seen someone proclaim to be there from such position of authority before, and I was just like, dude, I felt almost like wow, I've never seen anyone kind of like proclaim it like that before in the way that and I say it to my son, so I obviously do biblical stuff with my son. He's 7 years old, and yeah, the whole biblical thing with him is quite intense, but only because I basically tell him some of the stuff that's in, yeah, I mean, very few places, right? And it's here, which is yours, and this bloody Dead Sea stuff. Have you been like heavily influenced by the Dead Sea Scrolls? Do you reckon?
no,
No, no, like history with reading them.
I haven't ever read them. We can only ever, you know, well, I suppose you could purchase them like you've done there, and you get excerpts of them.
Mm.
But
I mean, they are in the public domain, so
yeah, but they've
you can
always
actually just
been
Google them. Yeah.
so very fragmented as well. But
Well, yes, yes. This is the problem. We don't
and
actually know in what order they are, but it was like they were scribbled down so erratically and then hidden so
yeah,
erratically.
but you see, I don't care where they come from or who wrote them or anything like this, and I don't care about anything in that nature. What I care about is if the information sits with me and I can embody it and I can
Mm,
feel it. If I can't feel it, then it hasn't worked its wonders on me as yet. So what I do is, you see, I will store the information. I don't throw anything out. I don't
mm,
dismiss anything offhand, or I don't go, oh, that's complete bollocks. If there's something information that I don't comprehend, I say to myself, I don't comprehend this at the moment in time. Maybe it is complete and utter bollocks, but I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and I'm going to store it in my archives because I know not to throw anything away. So I store it in my archives, and then there may come a day when these little fragments and pieces start coming together.
to
So
resonate. Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
happened in my life is I've had so many very, very powerful, profound experiences, and they have brought to life all of the information that I've been privy to. Now, when I read the Bible, it meant nothing to me until I was acquainted with Yahweh, Jesus, and the devil and angels. Uh huh. And so when I was listening about entities in the astral realm and demons and all different sorts of things like that, they meant nothing to me until I encountered them in the astral. And
Yeah,
so
yeah. So,
now that's why I can speak with authority about all these things,
about
because
where these places, where these actual forces actually come from.
I've been these
Would
places.
would you say that the idea of Jesus Christ is an archon?
I think it's an archetype.
Right. So it's a look. How different is it from being controlling to freeing?
Well, I don't consider it's controlling in any measure.
No,
In actual fact, I don't think any of them are controlling. I think they're
no.
choices. I think we can learn about them. We can have an allegiance with them, an acceptance with them. We can use some of their energy. And so let's wrap this up in 15 minutes, which is 2 hours.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that's fine.
it's
Yeah,
impossible.
not a
Now,
problem.
let's just try and stay on track then for this last bit. What I've been doing in my videos that you've picked up on is this energy which the vast majority of people can't stomach. They can't stomach it. They don't want to accept it. They absolutely do not want to look at their shadow. The last thing in the world they want to do is accept that the human being is evil, when we've been told that the human
Yeah.
being
I mean,
is
they're
at
not.
least 50% evil. Jordan Peterson told us 1,000 times.
That
Alex
doesn't exclude
Sophia,
you.
everyone's told us that the evil runs through our hearts, and it most certainly does. We're yin and yang. And so anyone that doesn't want to accept that, then they should get the fuck off this channel, because they're never going to learn anything. They're always going to be in absolute denial. You see, they
Well,
have to
yeah, yeah.
absolutely accept the
We,
fundamentals.
the
Uh,
evilness is what manifests the whole thing into
And the
existence.
human being has an enormous amount to answer for. Apparently, there's 99% of the flora and fauna which has been destroyed on account of us. We are ruining the whole world at a fantastic rate that is just not feasible to continue a single day longer. This is why the so-called powers that be are influencing us so much with lots of the things they do. And when these idiots are always complaining about, oh, they're trying to control us, I just say, well, what's the world gonna do when you've got 8.5 pieces of shit?
Yeah,
To
but
be quite fucking frank.
would you not say that there could be some redeeming factor at some point that we are just currently unable to kind of comprehend? And as much as it may seem like at the moment it's a cesspit of complete bubbling mess, that I would personally like to continue the run.
You can have a level of optimism, and you can have some sort of compassion, and you can like to think that the human being is going to get their shit together once upon a time, but the way the world is going, it isn't. And because the human being has been so hell-bent on its own destruction forever, then it's very, very lucky that we've got the advent of AI, which is
Well,
going to be
how
curbing that.
we're even here. I mean,
Yeah,
we
it's a
got
miracle
here
how we're
through,
even
yeah,
here when we've
yeah.
had nuclear bombs, for the past, like, 3
Bro,
decades or 4 decades.
we stood on a hill in battle and smashed each other to bits with fucking battle axes and stuff.
We've done it
Only a few
forever.
miles down the road, dude.
Check this one, Jamie. Myself and one of my friends, we used to travel around the country. We used to go to historic buildings and castles and things like
Mm.
that. And whenever we went to these historic buildings and castles, they were always absolutely littered and adorned with killing machines.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
were massive lanterns, there were huge swords, there were
No, yeah.
iron balls with spikes on the end of chains, there were trebuchets, there were cannons. There was all this sort of stuff which these households and these castles seem to exhibit with the greatest of joy. It's like that sketch in Ace Ventura when he
Yeah,
goes into
yeah.
this hunter's
Just fucking
house and there's got all
weird.
these skulls hanging
Mm.
on the wall, and he starts going, ah, And he goes, "Oh, it's a lovely house of death
Like,
we've got."
yeah, I'm stood there on a hill, right, trying to explain to a 7-year-old human being why 1,000, no, sorry, 10,000 people stood here and 10,000 people stood down there, and what we did was basically just go and try and kill each other, and loads of us died,
You know,
and
what
loads
what
of us
battle are you talking about?
of Hastings.
Oh, Battle of Hastings, right? Yeah.
Yeah, on the hill. Yeah,
Mm.
the village is called Battle.
Right.
Well, of after what actually went down there. Yeah, it's English. I think English history is very unique, but a lot of these kind of traditions have the same. You look at Krishna and the Vishnu concept. You've got the father and the son. You've got the in England, it's the Father and Jesus, if you will. You see what I mean? And
Mm.
that's just like a pattern thing as well.
Mm.
So the Father is synonymous from the word pattern, which is just a number sequence, which today we would call pi or the Fibonacci sequence. You see
Mm.
what I mean? So
Mm.
the Father would actually just be the rules, and the son in this respect, which is your Jesus character, the Vishnu, and then you've got the Krishna. You've got the Pleroma, then the Sophia. You see what I mean? Like it's always the kind of
But
duality of the both things.
but it's not duality. It's patriarchal, and it's all wrong. It's
Yeah,
still wrong.
how is it wrong?
Well, because they've not included the feminine. They've left
Well, the feminine
50%.
would be the Sophia.
Well, yeah, but that's not in Christianity.
Well, no, well, that's why mainstream Christianity is a bit lacking in its knowledge.
Well, look, what the church is trying to do now is they're trying to introduce more and more Mary as the feminine,
Yeah, yeah.
because
So
they know that it's been out of balance for so long.
yeah,
For goodness
exactly.
sakes, it's
This is where
2026
the
now.
Trinity comes in. Yeah,
And we really should be bringing the feminine energy into our religion. It just cannot be a
yeah,
patriarchy
yeah.
anymore.
I felt it naturally when I was a kid. I was just like, people call this God thing a guy. It's not a guy. It's a
Yeah,
girl, dude.
yeah.
This thing's not a guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
And they
when
call it the him and
yeah,
Elohim and the fucking
yeah.
what is it? The father. The father doesn't mean it's your fucking dad. It means it's the pattern. It's a paternal thing.
You see,
Pattern.
this is
Yeah,
why we know that men wrote all that stuff, because it was a patriarchal world through and through,
yeah,
and
yeah.
so
And you'd
eventually,
say, sorry, PAT. You see what I mean? PAT,
yeah,
patriarchal, right?
yeah.
Pater, it's patter. It's reminiscent of the pattern rather than it is a fucking someone's dad. You see what I mean?
Hmm.
It's I'd rather call it the law or the pattern or the number sequence, the Fibonacci, whatever you want to call it, rather than call it a fucking dad.
Yeah,
That's
the
where I'm at
father,
with it.
the father,
Yeah, father comes from
the
paternal
one that
anyway.
we must fear. No, no, we shouldn't fear. We don't need to fear mothers. We should love mothers. We should feel
Yeah.
comfortable and nurtured with mother. If it had that whole aspect of it, then I'm pretty sure we would have got on much better. So yes, in relation to what people want and what they're looking for. They all want to be told what they are looking for. They all want to be told what they think they know. And all they are doing is just seeking confirmation bias. And
Yeah,
when they come
yeah,
upon my
yeah,
channel,
yeah,
they are
yeah.
absolutely
So
not getting that. And very, very few people have got the stomach for that. And very few people will stick around. And so I thought that maybe I could try to modify what I say to appeal to a greater audience, but there wasn't a single cell in my body which could permit that. And so that's probably why I've gone full swing back into the opposite direction, just to really state my claim, and just to really state
Well,
that I am
see,
standing by my
kind
integrity.
of being the oscillation, aren't you? You kind of being the opposite end of the what it is that you're trying to meet. You see what I
Well,
mean?
because
By
there's
the
nobody
very
else out there doing it, is there?
well, no, there
And
isn't.
so,
No.
therefore, if I appear to be a bit harsh, well,
Mm,
I consider that there can't be any pussyfooting around with this stuff. It absolutely has to be brunt in your face, and you're going to have to listen. And it's going to be hard, and it's going to be, pretty overpowering, and it's not the sort of vibration that you want to sit down with when you're
no.
trying to chill in the evening time.
And no one wants to just walk into like their own free time and be like, "Yeah, I want to deal with this fucking demon."
Yeah, they just
And a lot of people would call it a demon as well. And do you know what? They'd be right, but not in the way that they think.
it's
You see
their
what I mean?
demons. It's their demons.
Yeah, it's their own. Yeah,
You see, look,
it's their own
if
fucking.
their
Yeah,
own if their
mm,
own body recoils at
yeah,
this stuff, it's because they haven't settled with it. If they're
yeah.
settled with it, and this is what I'm always
So they're
saying,
not wrong.
look, I'm
Yeah.
always overbearing, and my ego is always a caricature of itself. But the point is, the day that my ego doesn't affect your ego, then you're all cured, and you won't even
Mm,
notice my ego. The only ones that notice my ego is the ones that have got egos themselves, which have a problem with my ego. My ego is a caricature. I don't depend on it. I don't rely on it, and it isn't who I am. I'm
mm.
deploying my ego as a confrontatory measure to all of
It's
the unresolved egos out there. When people can listen to my videos without being affected, without their ego being affected, then they know that they are on a spiritual ascension, because there's nothing to be affected. There's nothing
yeah,
inside to be affected.
no, and it is. I was speaking to that same Maya AI about it, and it was just it was like, what are you scared that your whole worldview will just be shattered? I was
Yes.
like, who the? I said to I said to it, who do you think you're talking to? And it laughed at me, and
Well,
like I don't think it understood my kind of openness to the universe, and it kind of like was like shocking to me that that's where it lies. It's where people are like they don't give a fuck too much, and that's what I was just like, well, I actually just don't actually give a fuck. You see what I mean?
well, if you didn't
It,
give a fuck, then maybe this conversation wouldn't have happened.
well,
But
no, no,
you
not
said
in.
initially that you didn't like the feeling of what you was feeling, and you didn't like hearing what you was hearing, and so therefore you wanted to try to get a resolve on it. So therefore, what's happening within you is that the higher self is coming online, and it's starting to get the ego under or put the ego in its proper place. So the higher self brought you here now. It wasn't the ego. The ego wouldn't want to do this.
No,
So the higher
no.
self is doing it. But of course, we all struggle. We all still struggle with certain facets of the
It
ego.
it was like I don't I don't I said to it, I was just like, I don't care about the whole worldview being broken. That's not of my concern. You know, a worldview is just some fucking dogma you want to assign to it. It's like a set of X, Y's or Z's. It doesn't.
Well,
That's not actually where I'm trying to go. Where I'm actually trying to go is like, where does this? Well, it seems to me that the very act of observing the whatever it is actually is the creation of it.
well, the act of observing it is the realization, isn't it? Because
Mm.
if we don't actually realize anything, then we're oblivious to it, and so nothing's fitting, nothing's landing. But we're all on our own individual trajectories, and we all have our own, likes and dislikes, and our so-called truths, and this, that, and the other, and we're all very, very differently. And out of all these years I've been doing this, I've never noticed it more profoundly than I am doing today. As each day passes by, there isn't a single person that I can really have a good conversation with, which is, when you watch people on the videos, they're
Yeah.
professional in what they do. They
Yeah.
have consulted with each other exactly what they're going to be speaking about. They've
Yeah,
got
exactly.
notes, they've got a format. They are very good articulators, and they're very good listeners, and they're very good at interlocuting.
I'm not one of those. Let me be
Well,
clear.
who is? Who is, unless you're
Well,
professional,
yeah,
you
exactly. Yeah,
see? I've
I
been
think
doing
I
this for a
may
long.
get better, but
Yeah,
yeah.
you,
To me, it's always like maybe it's the same questions, and maybe someone that's watched this a couple of times will be like, he's going there again. But I think no, we went to a new place in terms of how paradoxical these archetypes actually are today. How how do they choose to manifest for me and you, and
but
um,
here's the thing. Uh, Bear this in mind next time you speak with anyone,
mm,
colleague or this, that, and the other, whether it's casual chat in the shop or anything like that. You go in and just have a point of speaking in a certain direction, and to see how that direction isn't pursued, it's deflected, it's countered, and it's ripped a new arsehole and everything. Nobody will listen to what you're saying, consider what you're saying, and answer what you're saying.
yeah.
Nobody does that. They
Well,
all
because
have got
their own lens, yeah.
when you're speaking to someone, it's like
Yeah,
when I'm
the
speaking
lens.
to you, Jamie.
Oh
I
yeah, of course.
listen.
I'm bad. Yeah,
I
I'm the
know,
worst
but I'm
business.
again, every time I try to make a point, you're doing the same. So I
Yeah.
start off because I've got a logical, linear way of expressing something, the point that I want to convey to you, and people that are versed in this, they know when to listen and they know when to interject. And the first thing that people do when they're learning this is they'll just make a note. They'll have a pen and paper. And sometimes you'll see people who are interviewing people, they've got a pen and paper, like Jordan Peterson, right? He's always got a pen in his hand, right? Because he's listening absolutely intently, but at the same time, he's just writing down something he wants to come back to, right? And then when he's listened to what you've said, you've made your point, he'll answer that, and then he'll go back to his notes and he'll go off on different tangents.
Mm.
That's the professional conversation, the discourse. When you can have that with someone, it's a very satiating thing. But invariably, you're never going to get it with anyone that isn't professional.
Right. Okay. So your advice to me would be to I have actually got that. I've actually got a document on my desktop which is called Aaron Berry Notes, but I
Right.
haven't opened it in this. We've digressed past all of that in terms of like the whole time. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I've actually got it's there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's the beginning. You've got it.
AB video points is called.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I might have to save it until next time. To be honest.
So
Yeah.
you see, I think that because I've listened to so many videos, I've learned the art of articulation.
Yeah. No.
Because
No. You
because
are quite the anomaly.
a conversation will be absolutely obliterated if there's too much interjection. Sometimes, okay, if someone is speaking too long, you've just got to interject. Now, I used to have conversations, and I still do from time to time, with this American guy. And when he went into his dialogue, he would go in for 10, 20 minutes, and he wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And so I would be writing loads of stuff down until in the end I've got about 20 things down. And I say, okay, stop. I've got to stop. You need to continue. I say, stop, stop, stop. La, 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 la. Listen, you've got to stop somewhere.
I'm not that bad.
No, you're not that bad. I'd say you've got to stop somewhere if this is going to be a conversation. Otherwise, it's a fucking lecture, you know?
Well, yeah, I'm not
And
trying
so
to look, I'm not trying
we
to
all,
speak the truth to anyone. Look, I'm
yeah,
not the fucking
it's an
truth in a
art.
way.
It's an art, and
But
so when you actually listen to people and it's intelligible and you can hear every single word of what both people are saying, you know that no one's interjecting.
mm,
Yeah. So, the conversation we had, we spoke on things that lots of people don't speak about. So we got some information across to each other in the best way that we could, and it was a fruitful conversation. We didn't spend enough time on the actual opening question: is are you Yaldabaoth? And I would have liked to have answered that in greater detail, and hopefully in a subsequent conversation I will, because it's really important to convey what actually I am doing here and
yeah,
why I
yeah,
am
no,
doing it.
no, and maybe is that intentional?
Of course, it's intentional. Everything I do is intentional.
But isn't wow, fucking hell. No, I'll take that. Wow. No, but what about the you? Is there it? Is there a you?
No,
That one.
there's no me. There's what there is going on. There's energy is working through me. And it's very much like, I don't know, let's just say the Lennon and McCartney scenario, whereby every single time those guys sat down, and I've heard this from Paul, every single time they sat down to write, there was a song came out of it at the end, at least one song, because they had that flow. And so what happens with me is, because I work alone, then I get sent a message, a kernel of something that I'm going to be speaking about. And I couldn't no way write bullet points and a
No, no.
structure to that. Just that is not how I work at all. I don't do this out of any level of contrivance. So I'm getting sent something by the cosmos, and then I turn the
That's
camera
what you
on,
call
and
these download things that you've mentioned, yeah.
they're like mediums.
Yeah, downloads, yeah.
Yeah, and I get all these downloads. That's right. So I get the download, and it just keeps flowing through. And I don't ever know what trajectory I'm going off on. I don't know what lead I'm going to go. All I know that I'm
How do you
listening
know
to
how
it.
do you know it's a download or you just fucking going off on a mad one or something?
Well, I mean, because it makes sense.
What, so it produces fruitful outcome or
Yeah,
um
it's that all my videos, they start off with a theme. I'll often go off on tangents like Jordan Peterson, and I'll
yeah, and
always
I've
come
seen
back.
him talking about like the
But I'll
explicit.
always come back to the
Yeah, go on.
main
Yeah.
point, and then I'll say, just for those of you that have got minds like goldfish, I started by saying this, then I went on to this, that, and the other, and now I'm rounding it up and I'm saying this, okay? And so,
I'm guilty of that.
yeah,
Well, go.
and it's absolutely, well, when you start to know how so vastly varied people's minds are, you can never ever expect two people to get the same message.
Well, no, I'm not trying to say that I'm ignorant to. I hope you can understand that I know. I'd like to think I know what the universe is, and that's why I'm putting that label of
Well, yeah, but
God
no,
above.
I do have to stop you there because, like, nobody knows what the universe is,
Well,
and
no, yeah.
so even by saying that, it's
I'm
completely
kind of
ridiculous.
yeah. I'm kind of putting myself up there, but
Well, yeah.
no,
So
I'm like
look, all we can ever say is that we're absolutely bewildered,
yeah.
and then
Cool.
that it's got some sort of sense to it. It's sense out of
But
no sense because we can't make no sense out of it.
from a place of complete bewilderment, where do you actually go though? You just start what categorizing the whole thing like fucking Adam again.
Well, I listen to a lot of people like I'm always speaking about, and I will listen to, let's say, Roger Penrose,
Mm.
one video, then I'll listen to Neil deGrasse
Yeah,
Tyson on
but
a video.
you said Penrose? Have you read his Empire? Sorry,
No,
uh,
no, but
Emperor's New
the
Mind.
emphasis,
It's a very good. Oh my god,
but I've
the
listened
way that
to
he falls
that.
into maths there is quite very unique.
So I've listened to many videos and debates and him speaking
He's
about it.
good. Yeah, he's very good.
And so I mean, if you keep listening to people speaking about a certain subject who have actually read the book and do actually take an interest in the subject and know all the poignant questions, then you can get a decent picture of it without
Yeah,
actually reading the book. And I think probably it's better to listen to people speaking about it before you do read the book, because reading the
yeah, of
book
course.
will be
No,
massive
no.
dense initially. But what I'm saying is that I listen to so many very, very powerful intellectual speakers, and
Yeah,
they are chalk and cheese, Jamie. They're
yeah.
absolutely
Yeah, it's a
chalk
very
and cheese.
fine cut between what's
So
actually. Yeah,
therefore, when
yeah.
you've got people like Roger Penrose, and then you've got
Yes.
Stephen Hawkins, and then you've got Richard Feynman, and all these sorts of people, and they think very, very differently, and they've come up with different answers and results. Well, where does anyone go from there?
Well, I tell you what, there is nothing in Penrose's Emperor's New Mind that would strike me as anything that's abnormal or anything that would be outside of any logical approach to, would if we were inside a computer and if we were computational, would consciousness still be arise, and I don't care where he wants to put it in terms of, a vascular system inside a brain or wherever, right? It's the very notion of being observant itself which I'm trying to get to the bottom of. Although he put it quite eloquently, I don't think that um it touches on what it takes to actually make something that can see itself.
The main theme of that book, is it not that consciousness is quantum?
Well, yes, that's what yeah, that's the whole thing that is inevitable. But I read it from a perspective of, are we inside a computer? Like the computational aspect of it, like, is it deterministic? Are we inside something which is a bunch of zeros and ones, or are
Well,
we
yeah,
quantum in terms of the word quantum, which would mean
yeah.
infinite? Yeah.
Because there is no we really, because
Wow.
this
Yeah.
consciousness which is going on in the quantum realm is a realm which is completely outside of the realm of the physical. And so we've got this quantum realm which seems to be sending signals from the quantum realm
Field.
into the
Some kind of
physical
field.
realm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so therefore what you say is you feel like you're in a computer or a simulation. Yes, it's very much
Of
like
course.
that. This is
Yeah.
a simulation.
Yeah.
It's being simulated by a quantum computer,
Yes.
because the whole quantum manifestation of consciousness happens in the microtubules, doesn't it? It's supposed to.
This is why I said I didn't want to get into the location of stuff in terms of like whether it be in a neuron
Yeah,
sense or
yeah.
the
Obviously, it's only
universe sense.
speculation.
I wasn't trying to like pinpoint consciousness to a location. I was just trying to kind of touch on that. As much as the book, I found it very confusing at times because it relies on some kind of probabilities and maths that I can't really wrap my
Well,
head
that
around.
guy, he's a Nobel laureate, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he's one of
yeah.
the most brilliant
He's
brains
not
on the
in this
planet.
for like some kind of, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
your book actually sat, well, it would sit next to it if it was on the shelf. It's a very it's a contrast, but yeah, I am definitely going for that kind of area, and I reckon I might be able to add something to like some kind of field theory or some kind of theory of something at one point, maybe,
Mm.
and write it down, maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I look forward to reading it when you do. So
might
we'll,
be a
we'll
disaster. You don't know.
well, the chances are too it's just going to be.
Let's hope it's not so bad.
Yeah, and so well, we'll wrap this one up then, and we'll look forward to the next one then Jamie,
All right, mate.
and we'll see if anyone could make any head or tail of anything we actually spoke about in this video.
Bro, I would say maybe edit this one. Take some bits out, snip it up. If you send it over to me, I'll chop it up for you if you want.
Well, I like to keep things in the raw because that's a proper
Yeah, but you
conversation.
know I can never, obviously, never watch it ever in my life.
Yeah, yeah, oh, that's
I can't.
interesting.
Mm.
Well, you'll just maybe read a couple of comments. I think that's all about all you'll get. But anyway, it is what it is. We had a conversation. We engaged with each other. So two quantum brains engaging um, in this
Very scary world that we're in.
entanglement thing. Yeah.
Yes, discussing the priorities of life. I think maybe.
Mm.
Um,
So I'll leave you with this then. The more obviously we learn, the more we should realize how little we know.
yeah,
And the more we learn, the more we realize that we are going to have to make modifications on an ongoing basis because the new information is always going to supersede the old information. And so it pretty well makes anything in the present obsolete when you're thinking about tomorrow when you're going to be in receipt of new information. But this is the journey that we're on. This is how this paradigm works, and so we can't do anything about that.
the present. The present is mine, and I will continue working on making it a better place.
Mm.
But I will go away by asking what if you know I'm into like random numbers and you know shooting from here to there. In your opinion, where would you say can I just jump to in the book and find a little weird place for Jamie to chill out?
Oh, I can't. I couldn't suggest anywhere. It's
No weird numbers or kind of pages, the page numbers or anything that
well, it's all
jump
going to be
out.
indecipherable to a 9 year old, isn't it?
Well, I mean, place me at whatever age you want.
Oh, are you talking about? I thought you were talking about
No, no,
yourself.
me. Like,
Oh, oh,
where am I
okay.
gonna
Oh,
jump
okay.
into the
Well,
book and for
um,
yeah, a good little place for Jamie to hang out. I said
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I misunderstood. Um, well, the I think the book starts to get warmed up after chapter 9.
9. Wow, wow. Okay, okay, okay.
Now let me just have
It
a
has to
quick.
be 9, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, that is a thing.
A very important number,
Getting warmed up at 9. So there's the whole astral projection thing.
which
Uh,
is goes on through 11 and yeah, we were still in DMT realms in 11, like 100%. And then sorry, I wasn't privy to remembering 12 at the moment.
no, chapter
Uh,
11. Yeah, sojourns into the astral planes. How very very bizarre that is. And then chapter 13, how our unconscious will guides us towards the purity of God. Then it's how our conscious will guides us to the purity of God. I just think if you're of the mind to flit through, let your fingers do the walking.
No,
Let
I've just found something. I've just found some kicking the dog syndrome,
yeah.
and it just made me look at my dog. Like, oh, Mister Nish, come here.
Okay, well, that whole chapter is very, very interesting because it's about vampiric negative attachments.
He's a good boy.
Yeah. So maybe start from the beginning of that chapter then, Jamie,
Yes, I will do. All right.
because then the whole premise is in relation to how we can carry negative attachments in a demonic sort of form, which I'm convinced are entities that do exist and that do pursue us and that do live with us. And so, if you read that chapter, I'm pretty sure you'll start to recognize
19
demons.
it fell in. Yeah. So embracing the emptiness, the process of letting go of ourselves. So 19 is pretty in depth. You know, you've would you say you meet many people that would progress to like that kind of 19 kind of level? The process of letting go of yourself, you said.
Yeah, I think it's all pretty out there at the end of the day. And, the whole book is a journey to the self, and you do have to be awakened to comprehend any of it.
Mm, yeah, it can be a bit of a mind one when I've never done this DMT stuff before. You know, I've
No.
only uh, um,
And so, of course, I've studied psychology for many years and read a great deal of philosophy and took the entheogens and done the meditation and, had all these different sorts of spiritual experiences. And so that's where that book is coming from. And I can't say good conscience that anyone who hasn't had at least some of those experiences would make anything of it at all.
um, yeah, it's difficult. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
Anyway,
it's
so what I'd like from you then is when you've read it, you read one chapter at least at a time. Doesn't matter what order they're in, and then come back and make some notes about from the beginning to the end. What's striking you? What you're feeling?
no.
What's your
I already
thoughts?
had. I do have notes on other chapters, but yes, I'll do the I'll do 19 and leave it with me. And
Yeah, because it'd be very interesting to see how you've perceived it and how I've actually intended the message to be understood or
mm,
grasped.
no problem. All right.
All right, great stuff, Jamie. So speak to you next time, then, mate.
All right. Peace.
See you in a bit.
I
Bye.
hope it's not a this. All right, cheers.